Yeah, so assuming you can hear me now, which I think you can, I've actually been thinking about wanting to do another just like podcast style um, chat stream, chat podcast stream. I thought we could talk about like if we each came up with three mechanics that we thought we really wanted to see more of in games, and three mechanics that we think are overused or misused in games. I think that would be um, a really interesting conversation. Just something that I was thinking about the other day. Okay, so even with no component on here, my resists are just barely capped. It would be really great to get some fire damage on there then. Because I don't need anything else. Yeah, that's an option. No, I'm not really over it. I just really haven't had any good ideas. And yeah, you know, it is sort of the thing, like, it's been really hard to have the motivation to do this sort of stuff consistently, and like I want to do it, but it's really tough. It's tough for me. Um, it's been a tough year. I don't actually think Enchanted Flint does anything. The other option is, I suppose we could just do a Gull Rune. I do need attack rating pretty bad. My chance to hit, like, bosses tends to be really low. Or we could do an Ist. The minus level requirement for items is very much a real thing. For now, let's do a Gull Rune. I hate giving up a Gull Rune, but I think this is going to be okay. Yeah, that really helps my chance to hit. So, I don't know if you had seen a while ago, but I recently found out that in this tool that I use for the game, which, like, it's the same tool that gives this information, there's also a speed slider. Oh, you can't actually see the configurator. But you can do a speed slider, which has been really nice. Yeah, dude, I honestly feel the same way. Like, I've just felt like a title where I was going fast. Yeah, my character name is like Gotta Go Fast. But yeah, like, it's been a real struggle to not just be super apathetic. And that's not where I want to be right now. I know that, like, I know I feel better when I do stuff, but it's so hard to get myself to do stuff. Like, it's really frustrating to have that, you know, that, I don't know, that sort of cognitive dissonance, right? Like, I know what's good for me, but I can't bring myself to do it. And it kind of makes me feel like an idiot. Like, I'm not that stupid. Why do I do that? So the real goal here is to switch entirely into Fire Smite. And so in order to do that, there are a couple of things I should say, things that I want. I definitely need rings. This amulet is probably okay because it's 3 paladin skills, which is a big deal. And I have the shoots and the shield and pants that I'm going to upgrade to, but that leaves a lot of items. I do think this is going to be really good because it does just an absolute truckload of fire damage. And so that's going to be really good once I'm able to switch over. It's part of why you want to move. Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, I think just you guys getting a house will be such a a big positive change in that regard, but I know I'm also being selfish by saying, like, no, just stay in Wisconsin. Like, I totally get that. I think I'm going to farm Karast to try to get a Karast stone from these guys. So, like, what's cool about my character is I kind of just don't die. And my damage isn't super high, but, like, pretty much just being able to tank everything is pretty sweet. I have a 66. Oh, that's a resist. But yeah, character just doesn't die. I mean, they do, and to be fair, like, these enemies have 15 million health, but that's part of the reason that playing on triple speed is so great. Like, you can just kind of do this, and it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Alright, we don't actually want Kalim's Flail. There are maybe a couple of enemies we're going to farm here. I do want to see if I can get a good Cesarks. That is a drop from a spider boss in a cave. And there are 2 spawn locations. I've got all of this stuff down. But yeah, there are a bunch of things that I've kind of wanted to, you know, really get back into. I did manage to get off my butt and play some Magic with Jana last weekend. So that was, you know, one step in that direction. And I spent some time today looking up some stuff for Killian. I still have not actually made that deck. And I also... What is it? Sandstorm Trek. Okay, that's what I thought. And I also really want to make another deck with actual rares, but my thoughts on that is it's going to be like another kind of budget format. I'm only going to use cards that are 25 cents or less. But yeah, it's hard when you're in a rut. Like, it really is hard. And like right now it's so easy to be in a rut because everyone's in a rut. The world is in a rut, you know? And it definitely feels like as a society we need to support each other to make that easier, and we're not. Penny Dreadful, I guess, if that's what it's called. Yeah. Like 25-cent cap on value. And then of course, like, that's not counting like foil versions. But then that way, you know, I pay $1 for a foil or whatever. And I'm fine with that. And it's probably a bad commander deck, but there are a couple that I was looking at that I was kind of like, oh, this might be fun. Like, imagine playing Karth the Lion, the green-black legendary who, like, makes your planeswalkers add an extra loyalty. Like, that would be really fun to play in Penny Dreadful because you only have access to really terrible planeswalkers. So, like, it wouldn't be... At least, I don't think it would be oppressive and stupid, because the cards that you would actually play would be pretty bad. Or what were some other ones? Like, I would want it to be, like, a deck that more builds itself. I wouldn't want to just play, like, some random, like, good card. I also want to look for Radaman's Waiters. So what I'm doing right now is, in the mod, all the sort of like mini-boss monsters have their own special... they're called Monster Infrequents in Grim Dawn, but they're basically like mini uniques. They're just like items that can spawn with like a prefix and a suffix, but they have their own built-in stats as well. And if you get a monster infrequent, they're called, that has like a synergistic prefix or suffix, you can get stuff that's actually pretty solid. And so my gear right now is almost entirely monster infrequents. Partially because I'm just a sucker for them, but partially because, you know, like, this gives 135% physical damage. And, like, that's a lot, and it gives a bunch of retaliation, which I'm kind of building into. Is there anything else I want to try for? Yeah, we can try for, the metal. Although, we are going to be converting, so we don't need to. We'll exit to main menu and restart. Gonna build Yawgmoth. Yeah, I think Yawg is a really cool deck, and I know that that's something you've been thinking about for a long time. Kaino Sentiro. Yeah, you've talked about that for a while as well. I think that is a good idea. I think, you know, like, you're not playing it to be stupid and oppressive. You are literally trying to play the deck to like, enable a good game of Commander. I think that's going to be a really good deck, like, wherever you move, to, you know, kind of have that be the premier deck that you play. I do think you want some win conditions, but I don't think you want, like, you know, Tinker Blightsteel style win conditions. You want things that are just like, oh, nobody else can really do anything, well, I'm going to win in, like, 3 turns now, or something like that. Because I would rather not play a game of Commander, like, get booted out from, you know, other people killing me, than play a really poopy game of Commander. Like, that's why, like, back in Lacrosse, I got my turn 1 land strip mined, and so I just conceded, because I was like, yeah, this is already not going to be a fun game for me. And I know a lot of people at the time were kind of like, dude, why are you being so salty? And I was like, I'm actually not salty at all. I just know that I'm not actually going to enjoy this game. Like, it's going to be very hard to enjoy a game where I get strip mined. And then, I guess I didn't concede immediately. I conceded when he played Crucible Worlds. And he was going to just strip mine, lock us out of the game. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'm done. But having my land turn 1 strip mine, that was definitely, like, very, very close. But I was like, I'll give it a little bit of time. But it feels bad, man. Cat, you gotta stop. Triple speed is the best thing to ever happen to me. Like, now that I've been playing with triple speed for a while, I literally can't imagine, like, farming as much as I did on single speed. I've had incredibly good luck just opening these sarcophagi, because they drop so much stuff. I've gotten, like, some really, really, like, high-end items. See, enemies don't take too long to go down when, like, they don't, you know, run away from me. Landfall. Oh, Phylath. That is one of the commanders I was thinking of for, like, you know, Penny Dreadful, because he's super cheap, and I think he's relatively fair. Like, he's pretty good, especially when you're playing super budget cards. But, like, one of the biggest failings of the Uncommander is I've just felt like you have literally no board wipes. And so, like, if someone plays even just, like, some random blue, like, 6/6 hexproof guy, you can't really deal with it unless you happen to have, you know, I don't know, just something that like, just lines up against that. That's really not ideal. The format only has access to, like, very few board wipes, and all of the board wipes it does have are, like, just incredibly situational. And I think that's one of the reasons that, like, blue-green has been so good traditionally, is, like, counter spells are so strong in that kind of format. And getting access to, you know, a lot of, like, big mana and counter spells is really, really good. And just, like, blue-green commanders, even at uncommon, like, there's, like, 5, and I think 4 of them are, like, actually quite good. It does mean you always want to play the board, but, like, it, at least in my experience, it leads to really uninteresting games. Like, you know, when Jana and I are playing, we played a game over the weekend, like I said, and I was glad to play a game, but it was just like, she played Kanji, and I had, like, a Doomblade, and then she recast Kanji, and I didn't have an answer, and I lost. Like, that's what happened. And granted, I'm playing a bad deck. I'm playing mono black with, you know, because you don't have rares, you have, like, such little access to actual mono black payoff cards. I don't even know if I'm playing, like, Tendrils in that deck, which, of course, I totally should. Mind Sludge. To be fair, in my Sir Conrad deck, I am playing, like, pretty much as many flyers as I reasonably can, but even then, that's, like, 5 or maybe 6. And I do know that, you know, some of the ones I'm playing are really subpar. Ooh, we did get one of these. %20 move speed is very nice. Getting the 20% all damage and 88% elemental damage is pretty sweet. The resistances on this are really bad, though. 23% chaos, 4% fizz. The fizz is nice, but only one other resist. 61% slow resist I don't think actually matters. Well, that would cap my slow resist, because I don't have a lot of slow resist. It's a lot of dex. Pretty healthy attack rating boost. Those are good. I mean, I keep all of the, like, Diablo 2 Monster and Frequence. I have a huge collection of them going. Pretty much anything that has, like, reasonable mods on it. I also hold on to all my uniques. Like, I'm actually getting to the point where my inventory, or my stash, is almost totally full. I started this character solo self found. So my inventory was, like, my whole stash was totally empty. And it's definitely gotten crazy. I've done so much farming. And, like, there are some items that are just bonkers. Like, power level wise, and just because they have a million lines of text. Hey, I got the poopy pants. I got a Vex. That's pretty sweet. That's like my 5th bone hue. Probably don't need that. And it does feel really weird to, like, be at the point where I'm, like, vendoring uniques. Like, empowered and mythical uniques. I actually think I'm gonna sell this too. And that. Like, this thing seems actually really sweet. Solar Flare seems like a really, really cool trigger. 10% on block. And I have a massive amount of retaliation damage, so even 10% of that is like 10,000. I don't think it's that I'm willing... It's not that I'm not willing to admit it's a failure. It's that I think Sir Conrad is interesting enough that I want to use him. I think it is a bad deck. I think if I was playing mono black, there are probably better commanders. But like when you look at Sir Conrad, you're sort of like, you look at it and you're like, oh my god, you could totally abuse this. But in practice, it's sort of like, if you're not building your deck specifically to basically combo and kill them with, like, some weird, you know, multi-trigger thing, like, trying to do Sir Conrad value is bad, for sure. And that's sort of how I had set mine up. I was like, oh, I'll play Sir Conrad, and, you know, he's a 5/4, and I'll play other dudes that are kind of beatery. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do at all. And then, like, I'll just kill them with, you know, a couple of triggers with Sir Conrad when I'm all done. And it don't work that way. We are totally full on our set page here. We'll go back. Yeah, we had a Hatreds. And, like, this gives way better resists. Look at that. Fizz, Pierce, Poison, Elemental, and then some Reduced Duration, and 8 max Vitality resist, which is really sweet. Sprinters gives 20 move speed. Yeah, that's true. I think Sir Conrad suffers from not getting any of the good enablers. You get a lot of the cards that are, like, more like engines that you would play, but you really don't... Okay, I'm going to put extra uniques here. I just don't want to deal with this right now. But Sir Conrad doesn't give you access to a lot of the, like, actual good payoff type cards. Yeah, from the last time we played, I remembered, like, a week or two after that, I added a bunch more removal. So I have, like, 4 of the black mini board wipes, you know, like, all creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. So I have a bunch of those just to deal with tokens. And I have a bunch more, like, removal. I remember I added, like, Doomblade, Terror, not Seal of Doom, but, like, a couple, like, Fleshbag Marauder effects. So there's, like, more removal in there now. But yeah, it's still sort of like, if I don't have one of about 10 cards that act as removal in the deck, like, anything just kills me. And that's certainly not how you want to play mono black. But again, like, Sir Conrad, if you're not building around him, he's a bad card. Um, so yeah, I get it. I'm not playing how I should. Oh, I already did this. I actually think I did everything. I'm gonna do Izual really quick. Because last time I fought him, I killed him really fast, and I don't know why. Last time I fought him, I feel like I started the fight with him where he was at like 40% health, and I don't know how that had happened, but looks like that doesn't happen this time. I will say, I do think Killian is going to be a pretty good deck. Looking on EDH Rec, most people play Killian like Aura, almost Voltron-y with a bunch of removal. And I'm totally not doing that. I'm going to play him as pretty much like black-white control. Going like really hard on value. I think I want to get the Cinder Pads or whatever from the guys here. And, like, maybe I build Killian really crappy. I also think Uncommander really suffers because equipment is incredibly strong. And, you know, we've already had some issues with that. Like, gosh, even in our, like, very first couple of games, we realized just how insane... Maybe even before we started playing, we realized, like, Loxodon Warhammer was going to be a problem. And I just think, like, so many other equipment present the exact same issue. And because, you know, what is this? Oh, that's level 95. Because not all colors get access to... wait, how... Can I actually not get through here? Wow. Because all colors don't get access to... like artifact removal, it can make it really challenging. And like just in general, again, there's just not like mass removal. Although I suppose red is pretty weak, but in Uncommander, red would get access to like Shatterstorm and stuff. And Meltdown and cards like that, assuming they're not over $5. I actually have no idea. But like, obviously those effects are really, really strong in a format where like pretty much every deck is guaranteed to be playing, you know, probably a lot of artifacts. Kusarigama is rare though, right? Oh, you're not thinking of Kusarigama. You're thinking of the one that destroys equipment. Kusarigama is the rare that's bad. You're thinking of Manriki Gusari. Yes. Manriki Gusari you can play. Kusarigama is the one that's like whenever equipped creature blocks, it deals that much damage to each other attacking creature or some weird thing like that. Manriki Gusari is actually probably a contender for like 75% of decks. Again, because in Uncommander you want to be playing the field. I think a lot of decks are going to be playing equipment. Yeah, the damage to blockers. Or whatever it is. The bad card. The bad Kusari. Whatever a Kusari is. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's unfortunate that we haven't really got been able to get together in like a year. Or gosh, maybe it's even been more than that. The other thing we could do, dude, I know it's kind of a hassle, but I did buy a second webcam. And part of it was for streaming, but another kind of benefit that I was hoping we'd be able to use was for playing Magic. I never really got into the whole like webcam Magic games because the Discord community I had joined just fell apart. But yeah, I totally agree. We should definitely do a 10 card sideboard. I think that that is really, really valuable. Because there are definitely cards in my deck that I would love to not have main. But I feel like, especially given like I play against you and Jana, and having some outs for some of the things I know are coming is really really kind of important. I should probably turn off picking up all rares. It does get kind of obnoxious having to sell all of this terrible stuff. I guess it's not really a big deal. And it's the reason I have, you know, 6 million. But it does get old. Especially like while I'm farming. Like maybe I just turn it off for now. Demon Slayer's hat. Eldritch Pact. It's just like Vitality Chaos. Chaos Surge. Huh. That's interesting. I don't know if it's good. Oh. Mythical Harud's Frigid Grip. Okay. So what we're really going for are 2 items here. Bonebreaker Shield, I'd like to get a better version than the one I'm currently sitting on. And the Bonebreaker Shield is really the most important piece of the puzzle here. So I am a paladin and I am using Smite. And my current Smite damage is, 60 to 130k. But as you can see, it's broken up between Fizz and Lightning relatively evenly. If I switch here, you can see it is very overwhelmingly Fire now, pretty significantly, because that converts 100% of my physical damage to fire damage, which is what I want, because it makes life a lot easier to makes it easier to scale like my damage. It makes it easier to scale my debuffs on enemies. It makes it easier to determine what gear I should use. So like it seems like this is a no-brainer already, but it messes with resists and stuff like that. So my goal is to basically determine what my entire new gear set will look like, farm all of it, and then put it on. And so some stuff will stay the same, but like this needs to go because this is for lightning damage. I think there's a similar one that's fire damage. This is going to stay. This needs to go because I no longer want a minus Fizz. I really would like to get one that's Decrepify, which would be Desace's Soulstone, but I'm not in I'm not that far yet. I'm close. I'm just not quite in Act 4 yet. What's happening? Nope, that's not what I want. Whatever. Like, Yeah, I'm really close there. I think these boots need to go because these are kind of lightning based. I really like these, but they're poison based, and so there's 3 Leviathans in the Great Marsh. There's the first floor has the poison one, the second floor has the lightning one, and the third floor has the fire one. And they all have a pair of boots and a pair of gloves associated with them. And I would really like to maybe have the fire boots and the fire gloves. And Shield Maidens is a really good prefix. It gives shield damage blocked and block chance and minus recovery time, and I think it gives the retaliation damage and stuff as well. Delirium is pretty good, but I would actually really like to wind up with, something that's more like this. This is actually really close to what I would want to use. Ideally, instead of +2 Paladin, +2 Soldier, it's +2 Paladin, +2 Demolitionist. I don't actually think I've gotten a +2 Paladin, +2 Demolitionist yet. I've gotten Paladin, Soldier, Paladin, Soldier, Paladin, Soldier. Supposedly, you can get every combination. It's always one Grim Dawn class and one Diablo 2 class. But that's kind of my ideal. Getting like a Blaze Heralds with +2 Paladin and +2 Demolitionist would be really, really sweet, because that's a lot of fire damage, and then it would be the functional equivalent of +2 all skills. And would also give me some more resists and all that kind of good stuff. So, then shoulders, I have no clue what to do with shoulders. I certainly don't need Nilethok's Sinewy Mantle. That's like vitality, bleed kind of stuff, which I'm not really doing anything with. Stone is probably okay. This has been just kind of a good bread and butter. It's a bunch of stats. Clay Golem is totally useless. Molten Boulder is totally useless. Maybe Molten Boulder is a little bit better when I scale my fire damage more, but remains to be seen. Anyways, so that's kind of my plan. And so what that means for what I'm doing now is I farm some of the items that I know spawn with fire bonuses, and just try to get them with additional fire bonuses. So like Cesark can drop a fire sword. And if I can have him drop a fire sword that also like spawns with some fire damage bonuses, probably in pretty good shape. I did just make Call to Arms, but like I think I just want to see what that could get me, for comparison's sake. Oh, you know what else I forgot? I forgot those two. And then we go. I spent all this time getting multi-stream set up and switching away from, like, Streamlabs OSB to just regular, or OBS, I'm sorry, not OSB. Switching from Streamlabs OBS to regular OBS so that I could get Restream going, and, like, nobody watches. Wow, my cat is really stupid. I gotta fix my cat. Okay. He got stuck trying to get out of his bed, as he often does. And I am cold. Okay, we didn't get it there. Okay, then we do the Leviathans. Another one. Another one. Another one. This is why, you know, one of the reasons I used to actually be like way more DPS focused, but once I found out that I could do the triple speed, I decided, well, I gotta just make myself tanky so I don't die. Otherwise, I'm just gonna die all the time. And I do still, when I'm actually fighting like the end bosses, I do still have to turn the speed down to at least like an actual reasonable amount, like where I can, you know, react to attacks and stuff. Because as it turns out, that's still kind of important. Like for general farming, like this is great. And the fact that I can still keep this up on like these kinds of bosses, good stuff. I have been considering going back to streaming that Pokemon randomizer. I was having a pretty good time with that, and I don't really know why I stopped. I think I was getting really close to the end, and I was sort of like, man, that's it. So I just sort of quit. As weird as that sounds. Alright, this puts us at level 3. This is the level with the Fire Leviathan, and the only one that has drops that I think I really want. Getting some of the other Leviathans drops would certainly be nice. But one thing I've noticed is, you know, their drop rates are really low. Word on the street is these monster infrequent drops are typically anywhere from like 4 to 20%. But I think the Leviathan drops might even be 2 or 3% because they're really, really uncommon. I mean, these are the only like nightmare difficulty ones that I've gotten. We're not done. We want to do... we don't want to do Radamant. We'll go for Bonebreaker and try to get that Bonebreaker shield. I'm actually really, really happy with the leg armor. I always want to call it pants, but that sounds so lame. I'm really happy with the pants that I farmed. I got really lucky and got one that's like pretty relevant. A little bit more fizz-based than I want, but it also gives 2 to maximum resistances, and that's really strong. 2 all maximum resistances, and so like that's 10 resistances. That's a lot. And I have found it pretty easy to overcap my resists. So like, it's not like those extra 2 max resists are like not getting used. And you can see, you know, my resists are already overcapped. You know, you start at 75 and most of mine are at, you know, higher than that. Oh, another thing, little tip for you guys. If any of you actually play Reign of Terror, I don't know, it says I have 4 viewers. If you're not bots and you play Reign of Terror, Mausoleum. There are tons of these ancient sarcophagus, you know, like chest items, and their drops are just bonkers. And at least in the mausoleum, it's like every other sarcophagus is a chest. I have gotten some really crazy stuff. 2 monster infrequent pluses. That's a monster infrequent with a rare affix. A bunch of components. There's a hell rack. Empowered gore feast. Gore feast is just gonna get vendored. Morganeth's Wrath. That's like the 8th Morganeth's Wrath I've gotten. Another MI plus. And then we do this side. And then there's a couple down here. It's not a very large area, so it goes very, very quickly. But because I'm... I'll see. I might not have a 5-socket Ogre Maul. Because I'm farming the guy in the area adjacent, I've found that like just doing these is totally worth it. I've gotten a ton of time warped components out of it, the time warped gems, which are really interesting. Those are the 3rd Palacia's Venom grips I've gotten. Here's some serious, like, look at this. The item has so much text on it, you have to scroll down, like, very significantly. But these seem so strong. It's just unfortunate that I am not. I'm not using a default attack, so Noxious Syringe will never get used. At least I'm assuming that's how it works. And it's all, like, poisony stuff. And then so many of the set bonuses are poison-based. Like, you know, that full set bonus makes Poison Javelin pretty dang good. Okay. So that's all we're doing. We're gonna do Trav. We're gonna do Leviathans. We're gonna do that guy that I just beat, Bonebreaker. Man, I miss the days where I could just like put on a YouTube album while I was streaming. Can't do that anymore because of all the DMCA stuff. It looks like I do have 2 5-socket Ogre Mauls, so that can just go by the wayside. And then a lot of these we can just vendor. I don't really need to look at any of the non-unique items. I know I already have a Hell Rack. At least I could hold on to it for now. Let myself compare which one is actually better later. I think I have a Headhunter's Glory. It's a cool item. It's like a shield. 18% avoid proj is pretty solid. And then a shield with +2 druid skills is pretty nice too. Okay. Nimble Crest. Oh, that's just a base. Oh, we got another rainbow facet? And a Titan plating. Huh. And what facet is this? Vitality to fizz. Okay. That's neat, I guess. +1 max physical resist seems sweet. We'll just leave this stuff in here for now. Okay. Save some time. Gotta get buffs up. And we'll start the run. Gotta love the stuttering when there's too many enemies on the screen. Alright, I really hope there's not one of the healing dudes. There's a healing dude. Okay, so where are you? I feel like this happens to me every time. Because, like, heals in the mod are typically just straight up 50% heals. So having them go from, like, 4% to 54% feels real bad. Don't care about that. That's rather unfortunate. Again, got nothing. Not there. The other location is then down here. So, has anyone had a good day? My last 2 days have been kind of poopy. Yesterday was really bad. But I won't shit on your day if you had a good day. You didn't have a good day? Or you didn't have a bad day? Hey! I got a thing! That's actually really sweet. I love the time warped items. Leviathans. It was not good. Just because of having to deal with the jury? Or was there something else that made it poo-poo? And the fact that you remembered who your boyfriend was? Haha, got him. Arachnid mesh, nice. That's 1 to all skills on a belt. Slightly less good in Grim Dawn than in Diablo 2. In Diablo 2, I'm pretty sure that was the only belt with plus skills. In Grim Dawn, there are monster infrequents that spawn with +1 to a class skill. So, like, you know, that's basically half all skills. And typically, the way it works in Grim Dawn is you have, like, a sort of main class. You have a class that's actually doing your damage. And then you have more of, like, a support class. But, like, Arachnid Mesh is still cool. It's nice to have one. Oh, more identity stuff. Yeah, that's not great. I wonder if it's, you know, getting to be about time where you contact some police. Even just like calling the non-emergency line and asking like, what do I do in this kind of a situation? You know, because I would have no idea. Or I don't know if you have any, like, you know, law, I don't know, for lack of a better word, like a law forum or something where you can have that kind of a dialogue. I don't know. But you shouldn't have to deal with that. I don't know if it dropped me something. I picked everything up immediately, so. Okay, that's that done. And then we do Bonebreaker. And I do always kill Bloodraven because one of the things that like the developer even told me, like, if you want to get drops, you just kill bosses. So I do try to kill bosses when they exist. Of course, there's nothing that can be done, but you can at least get like a process started. You could maybe get a file started so that, you know, as things happen, you can say, hey, I'd like to add this. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know how you deal with this kind of crime because it's harassment. I mean, if we don't allow harassment, you know, in real life, we certainly don't allow harassment in this sort of capacity. And if it ever, you know, breached the line into, like, actually getting your money, then it would, you know, definitely be a, I don't know, presumably a felony. But whatever, you know all that. You certainly know more about the law than I do. Alright, so there's something with a heal. Dude, where are they, though? Like, that's what's so obnoxious, is, like... I can't even deal with them when I want to. Because they purposely run away from you. Interesting, a second arachnid mesh just dropped. I will take all of these. I will throw away Kelling's Flail. Just farming. Man, I don't understand how big streamers ever get big. Like, what do you do? I feel like usually I don't even have any viewers. And like right now I know 2 of my viewers are my like personal friends. You know, people I know very well. Like, how does anyone get out of, you know, viewer hell? It just boggles my mind. And then it's like, well, no one wants to watch someone with no viewers. So then you don't get any viewers, which means no one wants to watch you. So it's just a vicious cycle. That's why I stream games that nobody watches. Very annoying as a teacher, though, to have students be like, oh, well, you should just, like, play Fortnite and then people would watch you. And it's like, well, no, that's not true. Because people who would actually watch someone stream Fortnite have a million freaking options. They can watch someone who's good at Fortnite. They can watch, you know, a woman who panders. They can watch a guy who trolls. Like, there's no compelling reason for someone to watch me. You ain't got no friends. Okay, how about they are personal acquaintances. They are people I know well. I do like killing spiders. JK, I'm actually a total bro to spiders in real life. I don't want to say that's not how I should phrase it. The esports team that I coach had to forfeit for the entire season, so that felt good. Not. It's kind of the reason my yesterday sucked. I took that pretty personally, which I maybe shouldn't have. Oh, right, we're on level 3. We can skedaddle. Alright, we did Trav, we did Great Marsh. Then it's just... You know my name, not my story. Yeah, that's something we used to say when we all lived together. That was another one of those kind of like inside joke type things. There were a lot. I mean, it turns out, like, when you live with someone, y'all just say a bunch of stupid shit all the time, basically, is what it came down to. But what do you know? That's the second Morganeth's Wrath I've gotten this stream. It's gotta, like, have some weird bug where it either drops way more often than it's supposed to, or the game is just like, yeah, this item sucks, so just have it a million times. Well, so, like, I know that there are things I could do, but what could I do that's not scummy? Like, you know, I've looked I've looked at some of those, some of those options that, they exist. But, like, I don't want to go on Twitter and, like, tag a bunch of big streamers or tag a bunch of, like, really popular games or gaming companies or, you know, that kind of thing. Like, that's not how I want to grow my brand. And I don't want to, like, whore myself out to my friends and be like, hey, I'm doing this stream, can you watch to give me some viewers and do this? Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to post on Facebook about it. I don't want to bring it up in my classroom. It's that kind of stuff. And I think that's what you do, but I don't feel right doing that. I know that a big thing on Twitter, or a big thing with small streamers, is, like, you do it on Twitter, and so there are, like, all of these, like, small streamer hashtags and stuff like that, and so there's this guy who keeps showing up in my feed, and it's like that's, like, all he does, it seems. Like, I want to just be able to stream and interact with my community that way. I don't want to have to be on Twitter as well. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's the wrong mentality, though. I mean, now that I even say that out loud, I want to interact with my community, but I don't want to interact with my community on a different platform. Like, maybe that's kind of silly. Yeah, I would need to whore myself out. Or I would need to do the whole thing where you, like, buy viewers, right? Like, I think that is actually way more common than I would ever have imagined. Like, if they even come in on my stream and randomly will say, like, oh, wanna be a big streamer, like, it's gotta work. Or it at least has to, like, get suckers. Because that's really how you get out, right? You can't interact with your community if you don't have one. Yeah, I mean, that is true, but, like, then if there's not a community to interact with, who do you interact with in order to build a community? Like, I mean, to me it's just like this catch-22, and it feels like a catch-22 all the way down. Like, how do you escape any of it? And it just feels like you don't. And I don't like that. Okay. And, like, one thing I've done a number of times in the past is sort of, like, looked on Reddit for, trending posts in bigger subreddits about, like, oh, hey, like, small streamers and blah, blah, blah. But I don't want to be a part of a small streamer subreddit because all it is everyone trying to whore each other out. And it just feels so gross. It feels so slimy to me. And if that's what you have to do, then whatever. I'm fine just being a teacher who plays video games on stream. Like, I know it's never going to be a big thing. It's just I actually want to interact with other people. The times I've had even just a couple of viewers, people to chat with, that's what I like the most. Being able to sit here and play a game and just, like, shoot the shit with someone. That's super cool to me. It's what attracted me to streaming in the first place. I honestly cannot imagine being a full... Oh, I think my fridge just turned off. I just cannot imagine being a full-time streamer. Redeemer diadem. That actually looks sick. For just like a basic item. Just like, you know, that's something that I feel like I kind of see too much. Where people just quit their job and then are a streamer. Like, dude, what are you doing? That seems like such a bad idea. Huh, Wraith Flight. It wants to convert to magic and vitality. That's so awkward. Spectral Bolt, though, that doesn't have a cooldown. So, I mean, that I suppose could sort of be a thing. It does give +3 Blessed Hammer. So using that with Blessed Hammer seems cool. I also really like Wodan's as a prefix. 10% chance of 535% lightning damage. Like, that's a lot. And then it gives a ton of bonuses to your pets. This one gives an amp damage, which is kind of not great. Oh, we got 2 of those. That's a cool one, though. Or, like, I even look at some of the streamers that I really like. Like, I don't watch him live, but I really like Badger's videos. And I feel like Badger, he's doing okay, but I still feel like he does not have, like, a lot of viewers. Or I watch a lot of Sir Gog. And, gosh, he definitely does not have a lot of viewers. But he has a community. Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence about this. It's actually pretty good, but by the time I hit 94... No, I get that, dude. I know you're not being critical. And I recognize that. I know that a huge part of it is, I think I even kind of said it earlier, like, I would need to stream all the time. And not necessarily all the time, right? But certainly more regularly than I have been. But yeah, it's a grind, you know? It really can be a challenge to just continue to log on and do that over and over. And I'm not even trying to sound like whiny. Like, I really don't want to sound entitled. I'm just saying, like, in a perfect world, you know, I would have 10 or 15 people, God, not even, 8 to a dozen people who, you know, semi-regularly sort of checked in and watched my streams and just chatted. But maybe part of that is just, like, I don't have enough friends who I can, like, talk video games with. Like, thank God I'm dating someone who understands games, because, man, my last girlfriend, that was rough. That was rough. Like, feeling like I could never talk to her about the games I was playing. And, like, at least my girlfriend has, you know, gotten to red maps in Path, so when I when I freak out about something, she's like, oh man, you got an exalt? Like, she gets it. But it's one person. And even though, like, she's played those games, she doesn't know, you know, she doesn't like every game that I've played. Ugdenbog leather. Okay, so that's forest. Now we need to do friends, lol. I know, I don't have any friends, but I'm saying, like, maybe I should be more active on Discord and, you know, find some people who are into the same things as me. But I don't know, man. Doesn't that just feel weird as, like, a 30-something to just be like, hey, you like this thing that I like. Wanna be friends? And then I also know, like, that would be the only thing I ever talk to them about. Like, that's not really what I want. I want a friend that I am actually interested in what's going on in their lives. I don't know. Now I am just kind of being whiny. A commander group, yeah, that would for sure be good. But, like, I think there are still so many people and places that are still just, like, doing it online. Like, a lot of shops I know have gone under. So there's just not as many options. It's harder to find a good LGS. It seems like so many places are toxic, or, you know, the store owner, like, plays favorites, or the judge is actually kind of an idiot, or, you know, things like that. Ooh, a Time Warp Ruby. We'll have to see what that is. The couple of times I've interacted with players in Sheboygan, I've always been, like, very clear about, like, I play Modern, I'd like to play Legacy, I play a lot of Commander, and, like, I've given, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 players my phone number and, you know, like, hey, add me on Facebook or blah blah blah, and let's, like, you know, play. And I made a Discord for Sheboygan to talk about Magic, and, like, it had 15 people, and 90% of the conversation was me. Yeah, I know, Sheboygan's kind of a dinky little town. Oh, I've been doing the wrong skills this whole time. Lol. Mythical Slithbane is part of a set? No. It just says it's part of the set. It's not actually. That's interesting. Neat little bug. But, like, I know that in town here, there is actually a really healthy Magic scene. There's 2 stores in the area. There are a lot of people that play at a competitive level. Of course, everyone plays Commander. But one of the stores in the area I kind of refuse to go to. And the other store in the area seems very not accepting of new players. It kind of seems like that's one of those places that, you know, it's sort of, this is who plays here, and, like, if you're not one of us, you're not really invited. I did a pre-release there, and it was okay, but, you know, I don't know, maybe I'm just, like, too old for the bullshit. If there was bullshit, and I was like, I'm too old for this. Man, how many cat's eyes am I gonna get today? How many poor cats? Okay, so this, yeah, that's all that. We're done there. We did Trav? Am I an idiot? No, I'm not an idiot. I mean, I'm not an idiot for this reason. Making friends is tough because we're assholes. Yeah, I guess I just feel like at our age, people should be able to recognize that we're not actually assholes. We're just not, like, extroverts. Like, it's not that I dislike people, it's just like, I don't want to be around them all the time. At least that's what it is for me. I still have not gotten a single Bonebreaker shield. How many times have I done this? 5? I could also do a new character if anyone would want to see a new character instead of just watching me kind of grind the same shit endlessly. I do have like 2 characters that I've started like kind of working on, but there's so many builds in the game. Do something else. I think making friends in the modern era is really tough for everyone. And I think part of like dating app culture is a big part of that. Like the way that you meet people now is you just meet them online. You know, you don't meet people in person. And I think that that has sort of carried over into interacting with like normal people. Like it's propagated from dating apps to like just friendships. Because like what do you do now to like make friends? Like luckily Magic still kind of has that, but you know, the world is just so much more online now. Like that's just where you interact with people. That's where you meet new people. At least that's kind of how it feels sometimes. Well, there's my 3rd Morganeth's Wrath. I told you it was super common. It's like obnoxious. The game gets all excited about a unique item and then it's Morganeth's Wrath for the 7th time. gain levels. Also, this is kind of annoying me. I know it seems very silly. But, like, having this, it means that I have a bonus applied. Like, I have a passive, but it is not in effect because I don't meet the requirements. So what this is telling me is Gull Rune, well, it gives 10% attack rating if you have a two-handed weapon. And I do not have a two-handed weapon, so it's like, oh, hey, your Gull Rune isn't activated. And that's annoying. Because I am dumb. Should I have a beverage? I'm going to have a beverage. Not a twist off. Okay, don't do that. Okay, whatever. I'll get to that in just a sec. Vendor time. I've gotten a lot of Atma's scarabs too. At least this item actually seems really sweet. Like, I have a build that's eventually building towards rabies. And it's just going to be a big poison damage build that just uses rabies and just, like, runs around. And the way rabies works is you, like, hit something and the rabies spreads to nearby enemies. And so the idea is, like, I'll just be able to run around on 300 times speed and rabies one enemy, and it'll just kind of propagate to everything. But, of course, that's not going to work because... Hey, I got these! Except it's Scourge Heralds of Amarasta's Flurry, which is Chaos and Pierce. Which I really don't care about. Man, we could have gotten something good there. I might just drop this. It's not part of a set. It freaks me out. I don't like it. Mythical Death's Reach. That's a lot of bonuses. Bloody Pox. That makes Bloody Pox very, very strong. 6-second duration and minus vitality and bleeding. It is a two-handed weapon, though. So you're giving up a lot by using that. The bonuses to Eye of Reckoning are really sweet, though. Basically converts all the damage to vitality. And then if you have Bloody Pox or Devouring Swarm, you just get this really nice, fat, resist break. Another Istrune. Très conveniente. Sorry, Morganeth's Wrath. We hardly knew you. One of the things that kind of bothers me the most in the mod here is that, like, if it's not a Diablo 2 item, it's kind of just trash. Like, these items both are from the base game, and they're probably pretty good. But just, like, in comparison, like, I'll show you the pants that I got that I'm going to wind up using when I switch my build. And it's just so far away. Like, the stuff I have is way better. Oh, that's my first time warped ruby. What is that? Turns frozen orb into fire damage. That is interesting. People meet friends at dog parks. But then, like, you don't really... Like, all you know about them is they like dogs. And that's... I don't know. I've also heard that people do that at regular parks when they have kids, but fuck that. All right, I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab a little something to nibble on, some fruit snacks or something. Man, what time is it? Oh, it's almost 7. Okay. I was gonna say, like, man, it looks so crappy out, but it's actually just getting dark. Okay. I need to check something. Lol. Okay. I do need another 4-socket mace. Alright. We are just gonna vendor that. Oh, yeah, I get that. And I would never expect someone to have exactly the same interests as me. But, like, I also wouldn't want to meet someone who's like, oh, yeah, I sort of like magic, but you know what I'm really interested in? The Bible. And then I'd sort of be like, that's a tough sell for me, man. Like, you never know what else you're gonna get. I mean, I guess like a dog park, you know, it's pretty neutral. And you have an opportunity to like chat, talk about what other things you do in your spare time. I'm just being a cynic. Oh. Wrong buttons. I really want to get a good Karas stone from these guys. They can drop an amulet. I think it's an amulet. And while it wouldn't give me 3 skills, it has a pretty good proc, pretty good trigger. And it can give some nice, like, damage bonuses. Dude, that's not even what I'm saying. I don't know how you're taking that away from what I'm saying. Like, I legitimately don't understand why you think that... I'm saying it is hard to meet people just in general. I'm not saying that it's hard to meet people because I don't want to. And I'm also not saying that, like, they would need to have exactly the same interests as me. Like, I would say I'm relatively close to my coworkers in terms of, you know, all things considered. You know, I go out for beers with coworkers every once in a while, and I think we get along really well. But, like, I do not think that I would ever hang out with them in any other capacity. And, like, it would just be nice to... You know, like, growing up, I always had a best friend, and it would be really nice to have someone who I considered my best friend again. You know, have someone that I feel like I can hang out with, and not even romantically, like a dude. You know, like, I have a girlfriend, and I would say my girlfriend is my best friend in that capacity, but that's different. Whatever. I'm not trying to whine. I'm really not. And maybe it is something that I just have to figure out, like, what kind of friend I'm looking for, and then, you know, sort of investigate how I'm gonna make that happen. You know, what do I want a friend to be? Do I want Discord friends? Personally, I don't really think so. So then that kind of leaves, like, well, okay, how am I gonna find a friend who's available to, like, hang out in town? And then what sorts of things would be important to me in that kind of capacity? You know, if I just want someone to go out with for beers, like, I already know people that I can do that with. Just wish things were simpler is all. Let me kill you. I know it's unrealistic, but I'm saying that's kind of like the friendship that I miss. And a big part of that, I think, is I'm surrounded by teenagers, and they all have best friends. You know, they all are like, oh yeah, I've been best friends with, you know, Billy or Susie or whatever, you know, since second grade, and I had a best friend, you know. It's just... it's sad that as adults we you're right, we realistically can't have that anymore. I mean, dude, I feel like I don't even hang out with my brother as much as I want. And he lives like 4 blocks away from me. Like, that's what feels so shitty about that. Whatever. We don't need to talk about it anymore. We can talk about something else. Sorry I got myself so riled up about it. Sorry, I'm reading something. Okay. I think I'm just so disillusioned with adult life, you know? Like, the trade-offs compared to being a kid are just not worth it. At least sometimes it feels that way. Like, I'm pretty happy with my life, but I certainly get nostalgic a lot. A lot. Empowered Eye of the Beholder. I've gotten that before. Classic Necromancer and Necromancer. That is a cool one. Shrikes. That looks like a pretty good Shrikes. Still wish it had some class skills on it, but like having Fizz Pierce Bleed looks pretty nice. Wish it had total speed. I'm actually not really that busy. I mean, it's just Jana's over every weekend, but like I am more than down to just even saying like one thing that really works for me, and I've probably said this before, is just like having a schedule. Like, you know, if you wanted to say every other weekend on Saturdays at noon or whatever, like we play some webcam magic or something. I really like that because one, it gives me something to look forward to all the time. I know that that's something that I'm really motivated by, like knowing that I have something fun in my immediate future. That goes a long way with me. And then it also really helps me in terms of like being such an introvert. You know, if I know, like, not that I think it's a huge deal or anything, but if I know, okay, I'm gonna have to like interact with people on Saturday for a while, like I'm able to sort of like mentally prepare myself for that sort of thing. And I know that sounds really stupid, but I've found that like that's just something that has worked for me, is kind of like recognizing that and saying, you know, to make those sorts of things easier, like knowing about them in advance really helps. So it helps me get excited about something, and then it also helps me like, sort of mentally prepare myself, because I don't like surprises, and I have a really hard time, like, if you were to text me on a Saturday morning and be like, dude, let's do this thing today, that would be really hard. Yeah, right. Joe. It is slightly larger than the default Diablo 2 stash. That's one thing that has been really, really useful. In fact, with this character, I'm not using this program that I typically do, but I have an infinite stash program that I use as well. But yeah, you get a personal stash, which mine is pretty empty. But then you get a shared stash between all your characters, so you don't really have to mule. And then, you know, I've got like a whole bunch of socketed items. I've got all my runes and gems, and then some other stuff that's Grim Dawn specific. I have these special rare items. These are like rares that drop from bosses. I've got sets. I've got uniques in 2 tabs. So like, there's some pretty crazy stuff. For sure. It's awesome. Did I undo all of my buffs, or did I just restart? Let's go. The vanilla Diablo 2 stash is painful. It is absolutely painful. One of the only like hard requirements for me to like go back and play Diablo 2 is I have to use plug Y now. I have to. I've gotten so spoiled by it. I can't live without it. How does this compare to regular Grim Dawn? Let me kill these 3 guys and I will start showing you. Overall, I mean, it's Grim Dawn. It's the same itemization, the same general mechanics, the same character progression, but then it includes all of the like Diablo 2 characters, all the Diablo 2 skills, all the Diablo 2 items, while still keeping all of the Grim Dawn stuff. So like, I am Demolitionist and Paladin, so I typically try to play with a Grim Dawn class and a Diablo 2 class, because I feel like that is about the most fair power level, and it lets me kind of benefit from both worlds. You've got the Grim Dawn devotion tree. It's modified in terms of like what stats things give you, but you can get up to 99 devotion points, which gets absolutely crazy. You can see like I have way more unlocked than you ever even get in the base game. And then the Diablo 2 classes, they're all there. Every skill exists. But what I think is really cool is they've made some changes that I think are really positive. As an example, like in D2, nobody uses Defiance and nobody uses Thorns. But in the mod, you've got Defiance as your like aura, and then Thorns is actually a modifier for Defiance. So you basically get Defiance and Thorns at the same time. Resist fire, resist cold, resist lightning are passives. So they aren't nearly as strong compared to the aura counterparts in D2, but again, nobody ever used them except for like prerequisites or synergies. And then same thing with prayer. No one really ever used prayer, but you also get cleansing and meditation built into it. So really, really faithfully redone. There are a couple of things that they've added. As an example, you've got Fist of the Heavens, but then they've added a modifier for Fist of the Heavens just to help make it stronger. With a lot of these skills, it was sort of like more than 20 points is really necessary to power it up. Same thing with charge. You get Purging Fire, which is basically the same as the Inquisitor charge with its like fire wake thing. A couple of other little changes, like, you know, all of the auras are considered exclusive skills, which means you can only have one, so they function just like normal auras, but they also interfere with any other class specific exclusive skills, so it does make it a little bit more challenging to use. Then you've got all of the like Diablo 2 items. So like I'm using a Delirium Helm because turns out +2 to all skills is really good in a Grim Dawn based mod. I'm using Talrash's Belt, which the Meteor is really, really, really strong. And so like the Diablo 2 items tend to be very, very good. Really, really strong stuff there. They've made it where all of the super uniques in the base game can drop these special monster infrequents. So if you're familiar with the base Grim Dawn, they drop monster infrequents, but they can have prefixes and suffixes, and then like they can wind up being very, very strong. Like I'm using these 5 are all monster infrequents. This is a monster infrequent. This is a monster infrequent. So, you know, like what I've basically been doing is I'm farming for like basically one or two, maybe 3 sort of specific monster infrequents. I have not gotten any of the ones I actually want. And then the other difficult part is not only do you have to get the item you want, but you have to get a prefix and a suffix that are of benefit to you, or at least aren't totally useless. I'm also playing at 300 times speed. I'm using Grim Internals, which has a speed slider, so you can play at base speed. I'm playing at 3 times base speed. My character's tanky enough where I'm able to do that, so it just saves so much time. So I don't know if one, yeah, so one just dropped. So like there's a lot of text there, right? But like those are pretty good. That's a lot of retaliation damage. I actually might like these. They give retaliation damage. Attack speed, move speed is nice. Fire and burn damage, which will be really nice. Like some pretty good resists. Right? Pierce, fire, poison, acid, elemental bleeding. So like that's not a bad drop. I'm actually looking for the fire ones. They are dropped by the boss on the 3rd floor. If I'm a ranged tune, will bosses still charge and one-shot me like in Grim Dawn? Range is better, but it still has to be a pretty kitey play style. You have access to a lot more crowd control than in regular Grim Dawn. I mean, like, Delirium, I know this is kind of a bad example because it's super endgame, but, like, the Terror and Confuse go such a long way. Like, I mean, stuff does not really even attack me because things are either terrored or confused. I played a Amazon up to level 60-some in hardcore before I died to me being stupid. However, being ranged, you still want to max all your resists. You still want to cap your. You still want to get like really high movement speed. You still want to invest in circuit breakers. Like, you still want to build pretty defensively. You certainly don't need to build defensively on the level I have, but it's still sort of like the best defense is not always a good offense, just because bosses are so ridiculously tanky. Like, when I'm done with this dungeon, I'll show you what I mean by that. Like, it gets really disgusting. To the point where I don't even know how like ranged DPS would deal with some of these bosses. Like, this boss has 25 million HP. My damage is not great, but it's not bad. And, like, trying to kite 25 million HP would be pretty tough. Oh god, that was really close. That's my first Saracens, though. Alright, I was going to show you a boss. Oh, right, because I'm doing the same stupid thing where I'm hitting the wrong set of hotkeys. Okay, so I'll show you Andariel. Even I can't tank Andariel very well. But just so you can see how crazy the bosses are. And granted, you would probably not want to farm act bosses with a ranged character. But, just so you can see, Andariel's got 40 million health. And, you know, we'll show you this. So she heals. She summons. Right, it's a bit more of a slog than the base game. She also has, like, very high damage. I mean, the reason I'm able to survive is my resists are just absolutely capped. And I have really good leech. But I imagine you could do ranged. If you go on the Discord, there are some build guides, and there are a lot that are just, like, kind of balls to the wall DPS. One of the ones that people are talking about is one of the guys who's a kind of frequenter of the Discord. He made an Amazon Nightblade, which is basically like the 2 melee DPS classes. And he says it can do everything in the game, including the absolute hardest content that the mod has to offer. So I'm not even to the end game. I've still got quite a bit of story I need to get through. I'm only in Act 4 Hell. But, like, act bosses are a real thing. Like, they take a long time to punch through. And you gotta kill them. You gotta kill them at least once. Or, like, Bonebreaker, he's fire immune. I actually think he's, like, the tankiest guy that I fight on a regular basis, because I'm trying to get his shield. But it's, like, it's super fun. When I first played it, it really feels like D2. Like, it really feels like Diablo 2. I mean, all of the Diablo 2 music, all of the bosses, all of the items, like, everything is there. It's so fun. Like, at this point, I think I might have played Reign of Terror more than I've played the base game. I enjoy it that much. That's my first Dangoon's teaching. Okay, what does Saracen's Chance do here? You get a Life Seeker. Vitality damage, Chaos damage, Vitality decay, Life Leech, Mana Leech, slower movement, and reduced resists. That's a really good trigger. It gives all stats, a little bit of damage, some resists. It's like very reasonable. Kind of a cool item. A lot of the Diablo 2 items, like the uniques, at least the ones that are like higher level, got just absolutely absurd buffs added to them. Like, one of the ones I remember seeing early on that just freaked me out was Blood Sun. I mean, look at all that text. There's so much text. And it gives these massive bonuses to Sacrifice and Feral Rage. Gives bonuses to pets. It gives you an aura. How do pets tank? So a lot of pets, my classes don't have any pets, but I can show you mercenaries. A lot of pets scale with player bonuses. So I'm pretty sure Valkyries scale with player bonuses. Now, like the Necromancer and the Druid, their pets scale with pet bonuses, but a lot of the classes that don't have like traditional pets, their pets scale with player bonuses. So like the Assassin Shadowmaster scales with player damage bonuses. Amazon Valkyrie scales with player damage bonuses. Yeah, it's pretty easy to get a lot of attack damage converted to health. It's really common, but there are, I would say, a significant majority of enemies in the mod have very large leech resistance. I don't know if it's like ballpark 95 or anything like that, but lots of things are leech resistant. So even though 10% is a lot in the base Grim Dawn, in Reign of Terror it does not take you as far, because your 10% is really only, 1%. Or I think it's every undead is unleachable. You can't leech from undead at all. So I get by with a bunch of regen. I do have a little bit of life leech. And then I have, I think, some... I thought I had something. Something had attack damage converted to health. Like on the proc, I thought. Maybe not. Oh, maybe it's a devotion. I'm a block-based devotion, or a block-based build too, so I have a bunch of the block devotions. God, I'm doing it again. Having the wrong hotbar up. Classic. So the council members can drop an amulet that I kind of want. It might not be better than Seraph's Hymn. Seraph's Hymn gives me 3 skills. But I would really like to be able... Okay, there we go. At least I can make a comparison then here. So this is the Karas Stone. I got Wodan's, which is a lightning pet bonus. So definitely not what my build wants at all. But I can at least sort of look at a baseline of what we're looking at. The Destructive Tendril, the granted skill, is really what I wanted to look at. Like, that's a lot of damage, right? 15% chance on attack, 0.4 second recharge, and base, it's doing 6,000 fire, 5,000 chaos, and about 10,000 lightning. So it's like hitting for 20,000 damage, plus another 1,000 from my main hand. Reduction in enemy's health, a little bit of mana leech. Like, that's really nice, right? It's really nice bonuses. Unfortunately, Wodan's is not the prefix we wanted at all. Mod's real easy to install. Seriously, if it's something that you think you might want to give a shot, join the Discord. Or you can, shoot me a message on Twitch, or not Twitch, on Discord, and I can give you a hand. But yeah, overall, very, very straightforward. You follow the directions. You do have to do, I think, 2 or maybe 3 downloads, because you have to download the base 0.7.0 file, and then you download the 0.7.0.2 update file. And I think that's where we're at right now. But then you just launch the game normally. I would really recommend Grim Internals. I am using Grim Dawn Item Assistant as an infinite stasher, so that's basically plug Y. So that would be my recommendation. There's also GD Stash. I know a lot of people like that one, but that one has cheats built in. So I am a man of low willpower, and so if I had cheats built in, I know I would use them. Or at least I would be very tempted, and I would start justifying oh, well, I can delete, these 5 items and then, get this unique that I wanted because, that's fair. And, it's not. But I'm just trying to justify it because I have access to it. And, oh, well, the early game is so easy, I'll just level this character to 75. That's fair, right? It's just saving me time. So that's why I don't use Grim Dawn Stash. But Item Assistant has worked pretty well. It does not work for the monster infrequents, but it works for uniques and set items, which is good enough. Yeah, if you use GD Stash and you're familiar with it, then power to you, but it's just not the program for me. I'm too weak. I like that Item Assistant is just items. That's all it's for. That's pretty much all you can do with it. What did he drop? So I can make the Seal Skies, the Seal Shadows. He dropped something that was an MI plus or a double rare, or must have been this. Iron Maiden's Mantle. And, like, you don't really even need an infinite stash. I mean, you saw, the stash is huge. And you certainly don't need to be like me, where you're holding on to, like, every single unique and set item. Like, I could probably go through and just straight up get rid of all of the, like, base Grim Dawn uniques and sets, because they're just bad in comparison to the Diablo 2 items. Like, I'm never gonna use them. Yeah, it's just one of those things, like, testing a character. Like, when you're done testing, do you really delete the character and then totally start over from level 1? And, like, what constitutes testing? How long do you play a test character? You know, that it's a slippery slope for me. I remember back when I used it, I used it to make a character, and then, like, I played a character, and I was playing hardcore, and I died, and so I used it to restore my hardcore character. And then I was just like, this defeats the whole point of why I started hardcore in the first place. It says I'm offline on Twitch. What is going on? It doesn't seem to be the case. Looks like I'm still fine. Okay, yeah. My stream program must have just bugged out a little bit. Suddenly said I was offline. All the Diablo 2 music, super nostalgic. Interestingly, regarding hardcore, I actually played Reign of Terror mostly hardcore up until very recently. Where I have like a level 70 character and I'm just starting Hell difficulty. And I'm too afraid of losing the character, so I'm not making any progress in Hell. I just keep farming in Nightmare because I don't want to die. Yep, the maps are super authentic. I mean, because Grim Dawn doesn't have random maps, Reign of Terror doesn't have random maps, but the way that they do it, which is really clever, is you can have random entrances in Grim Dawn. So they just make it where, you know, okay, no random maps, but when you're looking for the entrance to, like, the stone, or not the stone field, like the underground passage in the stony field, like the location of that is randomized. The location of, like, bosses is semi-randomized. Like in here, Bonebreaker can spawn in this room, or he can spawn in this room. So he can spawn in either location. I mean, to me, it's super clear that the devs really painstakingly recreated the entirety of Diablo 2. I mean, everything. So many little details. Like, offensive ability and defensive ability are attack rating and defense. And then, like, physique and cunning and... is it intellect? I don't even know. It's been so long since I played. Like, the core stats are changed to strength, dex, and intelligence. So, yeah. I mean, it is really amazing, the attention to detail. But it's still, like, it still fits into, like, a Grim Dawn kind of engine. And then there's some additions, you know, like they added an endgame, like, farming area called Trials of the Ancients, which I haven't gotten to, so I can't speak much about it. I just know that, like, that's kind of the replacement for, God, what was it in vanilla? Shattered Realms? There are the Uber quests. Like, I have some of the Uber keys from farming Countess for runes. I did a lot of Countess farming over the weekend. HRs are a lot more common. So, like, I already have, like, a Sur rune or something. And I've never even gotten a Sur rune in the core game. I don't even know if I've ever even gotten, like, a Vex. I think I've gotten Ists. There is the cow level. I can show you that in just a sec. I can probably do it. It's going to be really slow because my damage is pretty low. But stuff won't kill me. I'm pretty sure, at least. All right, famous last words. Is that a Shrikes that I want? That's total speed. I do like total speed. Big fan of total speed. Let's eat that. Like that. Okay. Good old rogue encampment music. My first Mav armor. Pretty sweet. It's like my 5th Isle strike. Don't care about that. Thunderclap. That seems very, very bad for a two-hander. I keep trying or hoping for a double rare small charm, but I have not gotten anything yet. That we go boom, 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 boom. Bring some of this stuff here. I can send you a link to the Reign of Terror Discord. I don't really have a Discord. I mean, I kind of do, but no one's in it. Let me get you the invite. Ask someone with invite permissions. Cool. What? What? Reign of Terror is a RuneScape. What? It's like a RuneScape clan or something. That's so weird. Alright, here. Copy link address. Boom. Apparently, I can't invite you to Discord, but I can give you the invite link to the Discord. It seems so dumb. There are Amazon builds. I know that like Ice Arrow and Fire Arrow and Multiple Shot are all end game viable. Um, a component of that is like the Mavina set. If you look at this, like the full set bonus buffs Magic Arrow and Cold Arrow pretty significantly. You get 3 arrows. I'm actually working on an Amazon build, and I think I'll show you that really quick, and then I'll show you cow level. Obviously, my Amazon is not a high enough level. I play a lot of Path of Exile, so my character is Veil Burning Arrow memes, and my werewolf character is, hey, I'm a furry. I'm not actually a furry. My druid is. I am going for these two. Inferno Stride gives you an extra arrow to Fire Arrow, and Demon Machine gives you a whole bunch of bonuses to Fire Arrow. So the way it works is Exploding Arrow and Immolation Arrow are actually modifiers to Fire Arrow. So you use Fire Arrow, but then you get the bonuses from Exploding Arrow and Immolation Arrow. And it's the same way for Cold Arrow, Ice Arrow, and Freezing Arrow. So I think that's really cool. And that's pretty satisfying. And I'm like level 23 and I haven't picked a secondary class. So like this is what it looks like. You've got your core Grim Dawn classes, and then you've got all of your Diablo 2 classes, around the campfire. So, everything is still there. And, yeah, it's, like I said, super satisfying. It feels super legit. And then, yeah, like, some of the unique items, like, these just seem so cool. Add a bunch of damage. Between Inferno Stride and Demon Machine, I will have, like, 100% chance to pierce with Fire Arrow, right? Because this gives 33% chance to pass through enemies, and Demon Machine has a base 99% or 66% chance to pass through enemies, so I have 99% chance to pierce, which is really cool. And yeah, I just think like that's going to be a pretty neato build. And it comes online pretty early. Inferno Stride at 29 and Demon Machine at 49. So like having 2 really good items for the build before 50 is really cool. So I'm looking forward to that. Oh, I did not even see that there was a raid. My doesn't I've been using Restream and Restream doesn't show it, so it did show up on my actual Twitch. So thank you for the raid. I appreciate that very much. The stream is going okay. I've been sitting here arguing with one of my buddies for a while, and then Joe came on and has been asking questions, which is great. That's like my favorite part of streaming, is getting to just talk to people who are interested in the game that I'm playing. So it's been really nice. Sometimes I stream for 3 hours and it's real quiet. How was your stream, Windy Gal? Oh, I actually need to go to these pages and just dump that stuff. It was good? Very nice to hear that. It's been a time. Pokemon, very nice. I still have not finished my my Nuzlocke. I should probably do that. Okay, so we are doing cow level. I will show you the glorious cow level. I luckily have some works likes. Yeah, here are the keys that I've gotten. What game am I nuzlocking? Ultra Sun. I have a randomizer of Ultra Sun, and I have been doing that. I've never done a traditional Nuzlocke. I think randomizers are super cool, so I've been doing that, and that's been very, very fun. It also changes up some typings. So I started Litten, and Litten is a lightning or electric type. Excuse me, Litten lightning. And that's been fun. I haven't quite beaten it. I think I'm basically right before the Elite Four. I'm kind of afraid, because I don't want it to be over. It's been a lot of fun. Alright, so here's cows. They are level 99. Oh my god. Now, do the cows kill me? I don't think they do, but it's going to take me a while. You can see the game's starting to stutter. I still have gotten 0 kills, so not a great sign. Let's maybe move. Oh god, they have regen. Ugh. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be just not great. How do I deal with this? I just sit here and hold right click. That's not my favorite way to play. Okay. Alright, let's move a little bit. Get some of our debuffs down. Is that going to help? We still have not killed a cow. Oh my gosh. So maybe this isn't happening. What's my chance to hit a cow? Yeah, 60%. That's not great. I have a 100% chance to be hit. A 20-some % odd chance to be crit. That's not looking great. I mean, I take, like, no damage, but I'm also dealing no damage. They must either heal each other or have regen or something. I wish I knew their mechanics more, but I don't. So yeah. Yep. D2 Necro and D2 Druid is like the strongest summoner build that you can have. Because a lot of your pets are the same damage type. And one of the things that's really unfortunate is that... Yeah, I'm just exiting. In Grim Dawn, a lot of the pets have different... I'll do Nightmare Cows. A lot of pets have different damage types. Like, you have Raven, and that does lightning damage. And then you have, like, the Necromancer skeletons that do, like, Vitality. And then you have Briarthorn that does physical and pierce, and you have Hellhound that does fire and chaos. Like, you just don't have an aggregate of pets that do the same damage type. Whereas the D2 regular skeletons do fizz, wolves do fizz, ravens do fizz and bleed. Like, you have a lot more of that. Like, you can just get fizz and you're pretty good to go. Okay, I will use up another Tome of Town portal and a Wirt's leg. I don't love doing this, but, you know, you want to see cows. I'll show you some dang cows. This should go better. Yeah. They're 25 levels lower, so of course it goes better. Then you've got the Cow King, and he actually spawns with a number of underlings. There's a medic who heals, there's an assassin and a guardian or whatever. And I think it's just to add some like champion drops. But overall, it seems like cows are pretty much meant for the same kinds of drops as in regular D2. You know, you get some like socketed items and you get a couple of runes. I haven't found cows to be particularly rewarding in terms of drops, but they do give good experience. I'm just, you know, almost 10 levels over leveled at this point, so it's not quite as impressive. You know, I'm pretty solidly in hell difficulty, so this is sort of meh. I do think it's kind of weird that there are like cow models like this in I'm assuming these are vanilla Grim Dawn. I don't think they added any 3D models. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're not actually from Grim Dawn. Maybe they did import them from something. But 3 white small charms. It's like their drops kind of suck, right? But they do give really good experience when you are actually like at the level. You know, I gained a lot of levels in cows. I probably went from like 71 to 75 or 76 in like 2 runs of cows, maybe 3. It's very good for experience. Yeah, even here, I've gotten 150,000 experience just doing cows here. Which isn't crazy, but it's definitely not nothing. This is like, honestly, pretty much the only game I've played for the past couple weeks. I think my girlfriend is getting really sick of it. But it's great. You know, I grew up on D2. Diablo 2 was like so much of my childhood. My brother and I shared an account so that, you know, we could share our wealth, basically, and it was to the point where we could just kit out any character we wanted. So, like, we would both make just dumb characters. I remember he made like a Kixin that he would duel with, and I don't remember exactly what he did, but he did something that was, like, really atypical, and it was really, really awesome. And then I did a Lazy Din, which was just like a Holy Shock Paladin with dual Dragon, dual Dream. Those were the days. I originally wanted this character to be a Lazy Din and use Holy Shock alongside Dragon and Dream, but like those items, like High Runes are just a bear. And even though they're way more common in the mod than in base D2, they're still not common. Like, you're still struggling to get those items assembled. Like, I made Call to Arms today, and if you look at the runes that I have, yeah, highest I have is Sir, and I have 1 Ohm and 2 Lows. Yeah. So, like, I'm doing okay, right? I've got like a pretty reasonable number of these mid runes, only 2 Mauls. Like 4 Vex is pretty good. And you are able to downgrade runes in the mod, which is really convenient. I need another 4-socket staff. Can throw that there. We're gonna go back to Hell difficulty. I don't actually want to be playing in Nightmare. I still need to get a Bonebreaker shield, I'm telling you. The one that I have, I'm not crazy about. I'd really like to get one that is more Retaliate focused. The current one is this guy. Celestial Bonebreaker's Burning Bulwark of Wildfire. So it has Celestial as a prefix, which is the damage to demons, undead, and animals. And then Wildfire is the fire and burn damage, which I do want that. I definitely want the fire and burn damage. But I'm not really sold on that prefix. I do have 2 other ones. I have Mana Drinkers, which I don't think is as good, and Grandmasters of Annihilation, which gives a lot of all damage. But, again, I don't know. I have my keys in my pocket still. Take those out. And these are really good. 2 max all res. Super strong. And I might actually be able to just swap those out 1 for 1 right now, but I'm not gonna. We're going for the whole thing. I really want to basically be able to do like a full swap from, you know, I'm basically like Lightning Smite right now. I kind of want to do a full swap into Fire Smite with all the appropriate gear that I need. I don't want to have to do too much like, okay, now that I swapped out this item, I have to change this thing about my build, and now that I swapped out this item, I change this other thing. I kind of want to just do it all at once. It's like I'm capable of doing everything I want to right now. I'm capable of farming all the gear that I need. I just need to get lucky and have it drop. And hopefully streamer RNG comes in clutch. Probably won't, not in a single player game. Oh, I think I got one. Alright, what did we get? Hammerheads of the Hurricane. Good chunk of fire damage. Maximum magic res, maximum reduced stun duration. That's pretty good. Not quite what I'm looking for. But it is nice to have gotten another one, finally. The other things we're trying to get... I did get the Crossed Stone. So let's not worry about that one. Let's go for the Leviathan Gloves. Oh, man. You'd think it's later than 8 o'clock, wouldn't you? The Leviathan Gloves and Boots. See if we can get something that's going to be relevant for us. And then I need to figure out what to do with shoulders. But the reality is, you know, there are no Diablo 2 shoulders. So, like, I have to figure out some other thing. Which means, like, one of 2 or maybe 3 monster infrequents that that were added, or like an actual just vanilla Grim Dawn item, and that seems really not ideal. Because again, in comparison, the vanilla items seem to be actually kind of bad. I should also probably get something to eat. So maybe I'll be done streaming pretty soon. It's been almost 3 hours. Though it has been a very lovely 3 hours. Okay, just the one, I guess. Then let's get to the fire one. Fire Leviathan. Yeah, of course, man. I mean, if you've ever got other questions, you let me know. More than happy to help. I'm glad you've enjoyed what you've seen. I hope you play and really have a good time with it. Or misses. Sorry, whenever I stop actually looking at the game window, it freaks out. I just don't know if that's any good. I really don't want to hold on to items that I just am straight up not ever going to use. Even though, of course, I do it all the time. I have so many items I'm never going to use. Got a lot of Shrikes. Shrikes stuff. I think that's my second Doombringer, but we'll have to see. All right. Toss that then. Oh, yeah, here's Armistice. Okay. 33% chance of 1102% elemental damage. Oh my gosh. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of damage. Doombringer is pretty cool. Bonuses to Fire Claws and Whirlwind. Curse of the Void is pretty nice. Minus Vitality and Chaos. Anything that cuts resists is very, very valuable because in the mod, so many things have resistances. All right. Well, yep, that's going to be it. Thank you for watching, guys. I've really had a good time streaming. Appreciate the viewers, appreciate the conversation. You know, I'm really going to try to do this more. If you want me to do it more, harass me. Having some external motivation to get back on stream once in a while would do me some good for sure. So hit me up on Twitter or YouTube or Reddit or Facebook or whatever. And just holler at me. All right. Thanks for hanging out. I will see you guys